There are few things in life that can truly bring us together. Few things that can lift us to our feet and bring us to our knees. Few things that can be analyzed, internalized, socialized, even spiritualized. It gives us identity. It gives us purpose. It makes us believe. There's nothing better. To the sickos, the diehards, the supporters, the hooligans, to the rowdiest, the most obsessed, the fans. For us and all those like us, it will always be sports over everything.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K here in beautiful downtown Phoenix at PHNX HQ3. I am Damon Fairall, a.k.a. Damon Dog. He is Kevin Thomas, a.k.a. Kevin Posts, and we are the AZ Wildcats podcast here in Studio K. We love a little bit of Studio K, and we love a little bit of branded bills as well, because when we are rocking headwear on this podcast, it's always branded bills. Head on over to brandedbills.com, use promo code BBPHNX, and get 15% off your first order over there at brandedbills.com. I am, in fact, back, Kevin. You can't hold the boy down for long. We were talking days when I was looking at information earlier, and what did I do? I got it back in an hour. That's pure determination. That's working for something that you love in life. And God damn it, do I just love talking mess on Twitter. That's all I'm about. That's my whole life. Imagine trying to take that away from the boy. It's like trying to take oxygen away from somebody or water. I need to get my damn tweets off.
Man, when you told me you were hacked, my heart was broken. I fell to my knees in the middle of my first floor. It was awful. Absolutely unacceptable that anyone would ever try my boy like that. But yeah, you know he's back. Got to get those takes off. Arizona has a Big 12 conference game tonight, and you thought you were going to try to muzzle my boy? Absolutely not. Happy to see that our guy Damon is back. If you're not following at Damon Dog, DAWG on Twitter.
I got a new car.
You still can. You still can.
I got a sick white BMW SUV.
Looked clean too, though.
Man, shout out to my crypto expenditures and in getting me to this place, because I mean it truly is just a wonderful purchase and life goal that I've accomplished here, Kevin. But truly, Kevin, you know what? We're gonna do something a little bit different on this podcast.
Oh?
We're gonna go ahead and start with a shots fired off the bat, because guess what? I'm feeling a little bit froggy right now, Kevin. And I think that has a little bit to do with the haters trying to take me down. Now, yeah, was this probably due to me logging into that fake podcast link DM that has been going around and been nabbing people all over the place? Yes. But is that what I'm going to choose to say is the reason that this happened? No. ASU fans, you scumbags, they didn't want to hear it. Washington fans, maybe. I'm having parties with all the Jedfish, Damon Williams stuff on the timeline. They're getting sick to their stomach. They're saying, how can we take this guy down? And so they go for where it hurts, the Twitter account, Kevin. And to those people, I say, screw you. My shots fired are at you, because you cannot take me down. This Twitter account, you can kill it, but it will revive again. It will rise. It will be, find salvation, Kevin. This is, it's bigger. It's bigger than just, what we're doing here and maybe, trying to just take down Damon. This is a movement. And it just won't happen like that. And to that, I say, screw you, whoever tried to hack my account. You're not going to take me down that easy.
Screw you and salut. Thank you to our friends over at Three Amigos. Ramona's Reserve going down very smooth there for Damon. Well, I mean, I'll get into my shots fired now. I don't necessarily have the same level of venom behind my shots fired as you did. You had some real life implications, you know what I mean, behind your shots fired. I'm just going to shoot my shot here, so to speak. Pause. At PJ Haggerty, because which team will he go to next? It could be yours, the PJ Haggerty Show. Come one, come all. Buy a ticket for 1 year and 1 year only. He's coming to a team near you. It's crazy. He's played 4 years in college, right? And this is his fourth team. Now, I understand that at TCU, he only tallied like 6 games during his time there, but it has been 1 year after the next of him transferring. And I'm not confident he's going to stay at K-State, because they might not make the tournament this year. They might be one of those bubble teams. And if they do not make the tournament, I do not foresee one of Erica's favorite collegiate basketball players, PJ Haggerty, making it back to Manhattan, Kansas. So to this, my shots fired is at you, PJ Haggerty. Which school will you go to next? I hear Bobby Hurley's going to have some spots open.
At like Seton Hall next year?
Probably. He's going to need like a veteran guy.
Yeah.
You know, he loves kind of guys that can score and not win basketball games. I think that's a Bobby Hurley kind of guy, right? Sean Miller, look, I think PJ Haggerty is from like...
That feels like Texas.
Like he's a Texas guy. I think Crosby, Texas is where he's from. Sidney Crosby, Texas. But yeah, can Sean Miller fix him is my question. What school will PJ Haggerty go to next? Drop your prediction down in the chat. But that is my shots fired. PJ Haggerty, you might score 30 tonight, but you're damn sure not winning. Salut.
Cheers to that, brother. Absolutely love it.
Good.
The spread as of right now, I believe, sits at about 17.5, depending on what sportsbook you look at. The Arizona Wildcats are big-time favorites tonight against Kansas State. And, Kevin, it's another edition of Wildcat supremacy.
It is.
On the line. Always is, you know what I mean? In this conference, at least. It's always Kansas State versus Arizona. Little Wildcat supremacy on the line, and I'm feeling pretty good about our chances in this one. We took care of business on the football side of things, and yeah, now we're looking to do so on the basketball side of things as well. This is a team that beat Arizona last season, albeit it's a very different roster than last season. Other than Castillo, is there anyone that even was like a big time rotation player
I don't think so.
on Kansas State last year who is returning into this season? As Kevin said, our resident ball knower, he doesn't
I don't think so.
exactly think so.
It might be like one of the more peripheral guys, but none of the main rotational guys. Like certainly not Nate Johnson. Certainly not Bashir. Was Bashir Jr. there last year? I don't know. I'll look it up real quick. But yeah, to your point, there's not a lot of holdovers from last year's K-State team on this year's K-State team. It is a lot of new blood. Abdi Bashir Jr. No, he played at Monmouth the last 2 years before getting to K-State. So yeah. No, that you're right about that, Damon. I mean, it might literally just be Castillo, which is kind of crazy to look at.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a big time, influx and outflux of players there for Kansas State. Arizona obviously bringing in a crop of new players as well, but having that supplemented by the returns of starting point guard Jaden Bradley, starting center Mo Krivas, backup center who could be a starter at any other school in the country, Tobe Awaka, like Anthony Dell'Orso, who was a starter last season and is now a key bench piece this season. Arizona has half of its rotation as returners, and I think that does make a world of difference when you talk about combining that and supplementing that with the upper echelon talent that got brought in. That's like the perfect build for a team. What's not the perfect build for a team is bringing in an entire new roster, and that can work when you don't have a great team. So I understand it. Like Kansas State obviously couldn't just run it back with the team that didn't make the tournament last year. Same thing with like a UCF, for example, who brings in an entire new roster. But I do think that it gives Arizona a leg up and a big advantage in games like this. And this one's at home. This one's a big spread. And as Too Busy Winning says, like he has a predicted an upset. That's what happened last year. So I think Arizona is going to take this game very seriously and not allow Kansas State to kind of surprise them and give them a shock at the beginning of the game and really like go off and running. So Arizona has to play catch up the entire night. I think that's really the only shot that Kansas State has, but I would find that difficult to believe that it's going to happen, especially considering that this was like the trap game for Arizona last season. So I'm sure Tommy Lloyd has had this one circled on his calendar for a while.
Yeah, and I think that the only way that K-State can win this game is if they shoot an absurd, like, personal high, new number of threes for each player on the team. They make a bunch of them. Kind of like what happened in their near loss against Nebraska ball, where Abdi Bashir absolutely went off from three. I believe he had 7 made threes in that game. That is what the blueprint, if you're K-State, is going to look like in this one. Shooting a bunch of threes, forcing many turnovers from Arizona, and creating a crazy, frenetic pace. Having Bashir go off from behind the arc, Haggerty go off from inside the arc. That would be the recipe. But is that realistic? And my answer to you is no. Flat out, it's not realistic. The spread tells you that. The body of work from both these teams so far this year tells you that. When you look at what Arizona's been able to do, that non-conference, the beautiful thing about it, not only was it perfect and undefeated, was you got to see Arizona against a wide variety of different play styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think K-State is going to try to, not a one-to-one comparison, but going to try to Alabama you in a way, right? Create a pace, make sure your bigs are kind of lost in all of it, shoot a bunch of threes, try to outshoot you, outpace you. You're going to get tired and worn down, and this scoreboard is just going to keep going up. But I think Arizona's defense is so good that it's difficult to get them in that way.
Yeah.
It's difficult to outshoot them. Even though Arizona's not like a flame-throwing, three-point shooting team, they're so methodical and they're so physical. It's tough to even get your shooters in open positions on the offensive end. So that's what K-State's going to try to do. I don't know if it's going to work for them. I doubt that it's going to work for them. But on the flip side of that, like, how is Arizona going to stop that? I think you allow Haggerty to get his tonight, right? Like, I think you allow, because let me pull up his game log here, but he has been absolutely going off recently, PJ Haggerty, to the tune of 24 against BYU, 24 against ULM, 24 against South Dakota, 28 against MVSU, and then it kind of tampers down a little bit there, but dropped 37 against Mississippi State. I mean, he is a high-level bucket getter, and you're not going to absolutely stop a guy like PJ Haggerty. He's just too big, too talented, too skilled. He's seen it too many times. But you can shut down the others, right? And we're going to get to that in a little bit. But I think you allow Haggerty to get his and know that he can't score 70 points by himself, right? Like, are you of a different mind, or do you kind of think that it's more about the others than it is PJ Haggerty in this one?
I mean, it's the age-old discussion, right? Like, you always kind of, are in a vacuum, are fine with maybe the guy who is the leading scorer kind of getting his, as long as he's not also getting others involved as well. And not that PJ Haggerty, in terms of guards, is maybe the ultimate passer. Like, he's definitely much more of a get his kind of guy than he is a, let's facilitate kind of guy. But that is a method that has, longstanding been a strategy in college basketball. And I think that it does hold up tonight. Like, yeah, he's probably going to get 20 points. That's cool. But let's just not let anybody else go off. And I think that this one should be an easy, clean our hands, wrap it up, leave Tucson with a W type of game.
Now, I wouldn't be too shocked though if K-State keeps this close for the first half or so, just because this is a Big 12 conference game, and we have not been in the Big 12 for very long, Damon. But what we have learned is that it's kind of like the NFL in many ways, right? Like, any given night, a team can give you a run for your money in a way that might be unexpected, right? We're seeing it all across the conference here, all across the nation in many ways, but especially in the Big 12. Last night, that absolute heavyweight battle between Texas Tech and Houston. You had Oklahoma State, a team that not many people think too highly of. They might like them, but they don't think that they're that, hot-ish, you know what I mean? But UCF has been everybody's darling the past couple weeks. They get got by Oklahoma State. Like, this is the Big 12. These teams are talented. They're well-coached. They can get you if you're not playing on your A game. So it's incumbent upon Arizona to make sure that does not happen, because we know PJ Haggerty, Abdi Bashir, they're talented enough to get a road win.
Yeah.
Although it is an uphill battle, and I'm not saying it's going to be a very realistic thing that they can get it done, but I wouldn't necessarily sleep on the K-State Wildcats in this one. And on that same topic of how to make sure that they do stay out of this game, Arizona just needs to physically impose themselves in this one, right? Like, we looked at this yesterday's show or 2 days ago, but the front court disparity in size and skill in this one is great. Like, it is a ravine between these two teams and their front courts. And it's Motiejus Krivas with his rim protection, Peat with his overall skill set, and Tobe Awaka, like, I do think he gets probably 8 to 10 rebounds in this game. Like, just based on the fact that he is more skilled, more athletic, stronger, a better rebounder than every single one of K-State's bigs. So I think Arizona physically imposes themselves in this one the same way they did against Utah, and that over the course of the game, K-State just simply cannot keep up and continue to score.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I mean, I think that Arizona is they're going to try to beat Kansas State the same way that they try to beat every team. And that's out physical, out size, out rebound, outscore in the paint. Like, it's just the age old, we're bigger, stronger, faster, taller than you. Like and that is genuinely the Arizona method of winning basketball games against especially inferior opponents. So I expect more of the same there. As we talked about in the lead up to this game, like Kansas State does have a good guard rotation.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. And, they have guys coming off the bench like Castillo who are averaging 13 points a game.
Yeah,
like,
second leading scorer.
They have a very solid and deep starting, and backup guard rotation, but their bigs leave a little bit to be desired. And that is a recipe for disaster if you're trying to play Arizona. As we've talked about before, like, if you're going to beat the Cats, it's going to take pretty much elite shot creation and making from your squad.
Yeah.
And does Kansas State have a couple of the horses to make that happen? Yeah, they admittedly do. They have, obviously we've talked about PJ Haggerty a lot. Like, they have dudes that, can create their own buckets. But that being said, can you do it sustainably over the course of 40 minutes when we know Arizona is going to play efficient basketball because they don't need to shoot the three to, necessarily win the basketball game. Last year in the Kansas State game, the reason U of A lost is because they could not buy a perimeter shot.
Yeah, 2 for 22.
Yeah, go back and look at those stats I was just about to say, but Kevin's got them on handy.
I can't forget. I said it on the postgame show. I'll never forget. I will be 86 years old. Hopefully I get that old. And I will still be like, God damn it, those Wildcats back in 2025 couldn't shoot for nothing. 2 for 22. We should have taken that game on the road. But yeah, no, 2 for 22. I can't forget it.
Yeah, it's hard to forget, Kevin. It really, truly is. So I expect Arizona to go out there and hopefully, not hopefully, but like not need that perimeter shooting as much as they did last year because they're just a different team. They're more physical. They're more athletic this season. And because of that, it's going to take a world-beating shooting effort from Kansas State tonight. And I don't see that happening.
Let's keep on this perimeter topic, Damon, because there's a player that I really wanted to discuss. One, Anthony Dell'Orso, friend of the show, Delly, ADO, whatever you want to call him, the hero from down under. I don't know. But he has been, by his standards, I would say slumping recently, right? If you look at his Utah performance, 1 for 4, a turnover, 3 assists in that one, 0 for 1 from 3.
He was bad in that game.
In his last 3 games, though, Damon, between San Diego State, Bethune-Cookman, and Utah, he is just 1 for 9 from beyond the arc. That is not a very Anthony Dell'Orso result. Now, I believe in science. I believe in math. And I'm sure that there will be a positive regression towards the mean here for Anthony Dell'Orso. I'm sure we're going to get some deep deli threes. Do you think that comes tonight? Do you think, and this is my question to you, that Anthony Dell'Orso has more threes made in this game than the whole Arizona Wildcats team that faced K-State last year? Does he get more than 2 threes in this game?
I'll go ahead and say yes. I do think that, a home environment is ideal for a shooter, right? So, obviously shooting is going to be impacted a little bit by an away crowd. I think Anthony Dell'Orso at home, a little bit more comfortable. I think that this is as you said, a positive regression to the mean for ADO, especially after, the tough game that he had last game in particular against Utah, where Tommy kind of pulled him. Tommy kind of, limited his minutes because he didn't like what he saw.
His lowest minute total by far this year.
Yeah.
Just 13.
Yeah. And so, I think it's a big opportunity for him tonight to kind of bounce back. But yeah, I expect this game to be, kind of how a lot of Arizona games have gone this season. And that's teams trying to basically, out ISO Arizona on their own offensive end versus Arizona just doing the same method as always. Get it down low. Watch the big men go to work, and the rest will fall into place, especially transition buckets. So, I'm not sweating this one right now, Kevin. I feel pretty good about it. Definitely don't think it's going to be a repeat of last season.
I do not think so either, Damon. And I will say this. I will say this as well, right? That I feel like this Big 12 season for Arizona, and maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe I'm getting a little bit over my skis, but I feel like this is going to be a statement this year over the course of the season. Like, I know that there are some teams that we've seen them kind of get tripped up over their own feet already in conference play, maybe not play to the level that they think that they are. I feel comfortable that Arizona is only going to try to get better throughout conference season. They're only going to try to avoid tripping over their own feet and making avoidable errors and not beating or losing to a team that you really should have beat. I think it's going to take a team like a top team in the Big 12, like BYU, like a Texas Tech, like a Houston, to get Arizona off their game. It's not. It could be, but I don't think this is one of those teams that could fall to like one of the lower teams in this conference. I don't even want to name one because then you put the jinx out there, but you know what I'm trying to say here, right?
Yeah, it feels like this team is specifically built to beat teams that are just inferior to them. So, like, it gives me confidence that Tommy Lloyd, in this squad in particular, will not struggle, God forbid, as much against, a team in the first or second round of the tournament. I do think that they are just like very specifically built to beating teams that don't have the athleticism and size to match up against them, and of which there are very few, Kevin. There are very few teams in the country that are along that same line as Arizona. So, yeah, I think that this one is going to be one where Arizona is just going to go out there and play their game, and eventually the score, you'll start seeing it just kind of balloon and get bigger and bigger and bigger. But, Kevin, I believe you have some keys for us to get into, things that Arizona is going to have to do to get the W tonight.
I do indeed. Let's talk about Kev's keys for this one. Continue to dominate the boards. K-State has proven themselves to be a pretty weak, specifically offensive rebounding team, and Arizona has proven themselves, specifically Tobe Awaka, to be one of the better rebounding teams and players in the country. And I think that's going to have to continue tonight if you're going to make sure that K-State does not get going offensively. Key number 2, do not let, quote, the others win the game for KSU. And when I say that, I mean, I'm referencing, obviously that idea that you have your star and then you have your, quote, others that are there meant mostly to help out the star and make sure that they're facilitating what they need to do. You cannot let Abdi Bashir, you cannot let Nate Johnson, you cannot let these other players for K-State really get the ball rolling and really help Haggerty with their production, right? If Haggerty goes for 24 like he's been doing the past 4 or 5 games, so be it. It's going to take more than 24 points to beat the Arizona Wildcats. Yeah. If he goes for 35, so be it. It's going to take more than 35 points to beat the Arizona Wildcats. What are you holding the others to? Right? That's what it's going to be about. Making him make tough choices off of his dribble drive kickouts, right? Making sure that when he kicks the ball out, someone's closing out on that three-point shooter opportunity. Key number 3, force K-State into tough twos. They are an incredibly efficient shooting team, and they can really shoot the ball from 3 when they get going. One thing that Jerome Tang specifically was bothered by in their game, their most recent loss to BYU, was that BYU was able to force them to take more 2s than 3s, at least whatever ratio that Jerome Tang wanted to. And he said he wanted his team to shoot even more 3s. Even though they did not shoot it well, he wanted them to shoot more 3s. And so I think if you're Arizona, K-State barely wants to take 2s, so the ones that they are going to take, you better make sure that they're tough ones, Damon. Those are my 3 keys to the game in this one.
Absolutely love it. Throw it on screen for me one more time, Kevin. We got to continue to dominate the boards. Do not let the others win the game for Kansas State, meaning the non-PJ Haggerty star players on the team, and force K-State into tough 2s, which I think we will see a lot of tonight, Kevin. I do think that Kansas State, if they want to win this game, is going to need like an all-time mid-range type of night. Oh, my God,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They're going to need like PJ Haggerty coming off screens, getting to the elbow, and just going for 12 mid-range buckets in this game. It's going to need to be an incredible performance from K-State because Arizona is an incredible team, Damon. We only have 5 minutes to tip off, so let's get to our score predictions in this one. Spoiler alert, Arizona taking home a W. I have 96-71. Arizona has been a team that has flirted with triple digits many times but has yet to take home the girl, at least not very often. So I think they get right up there, 96, and I think they get back in the 20-point plus win column here with a 71 for K-State.
Yeah, I got 91-73. When I was looking through Kansas State's losses, Kevin, most of the teams that are beating Kansas State are putting up about mid-80s points per game. Now, Arizona is probably the best team that Kansas State has played all season long, but that's why I have them scoring in the low 90s I think Arizona, kind of puts up that high total of points that it takes to beat Kansas State in these games, but Kansas State does not match that on their end and loses by a score of, what did I have, 91-73 there, which is an 18-point victory and does in fact cover the spread for those keeping score at home.
Good teams win. Great teams cover, Damon, dog. Great teams indeed do cover. But yeah, those are our score predictions for this one. Those are our keys to the game. And that is our pregame show. Thank goodness Damon has his account back to get some takes off on this one. But yeah, we have only mere moments.
This outro was going to be so sad.
I
was going to be like, don't follow me. Don't look at my account. Don't talk to it. Don't interact with it. Leave it alone. Man. If it says something to you, block it. Maybe like it was going to be a depressing outro of this show. So I am damn glad that we in fact have the prized possession of I'd argue the entire PHNX Sports company. My Twitter account, like it means everything. The company would fall. It would cease to exist if I couldn't get my antagonizing tweets off on my account and represent this company at such a high level.
Who would ASU burners go after? Genuinely.
You.
Oh, no.
You should have been rooting for me
but
to get it back more than anybody.
I don't think that they think that I care enough to go after me. Like, I think they see, like, basketball when they look at me. I'll let you decide why. But I think that they think basketball when they look at me. And they're like, oh, he doesn't really care to talk, crap about football. Right? He just waited for basketball.
But you did.
Season. But I did.
All season long.
But I've since pivoted to basketball. And I think you are much more willing to talk about Cutter Bowley than I ever will be on Twitter. You know what I mean? And for that.
Who?
For that, you are special
you mean
within
Vanilla
those ranks.
Sims.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Oops,
Yes.
I did. I'm not familiar with his government name, if you will, but we do have a basketball game to watch here in just a mere matter of moments. Kevin and I are going to be giving you post-game coverage about 10 minutes after that final buzzer sounds. Of course, you can follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. And so help me God, if someone else comes for this account again, war will be waged. If you can go ahead and follow Kevin at KevoPost, that's KEVOPOSTS, and you can follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media. Everybody, appreciate you guys for watching this one. We'll see you on post game. Don't click any links that are DM'd to you on Twitter. That is a bad no-no that will not be happening again. I went full unk status on that one. I can't even lie. That was hashtag chopped as could be right there.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll help out.
Okay.
It's someone I loosely know, and I'll want to help out their podcast that they need me to vote on. Here we go. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't get caught by any Nigerian princes. There are very obvious scams out there, and don't click on any of those links. But follow my guy Kevin at KevoPost. Follow us at PHNX_Wildcats, and we will see you on postgame. Until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Sports over everything. More on that on our postgame show tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.